Part 4. Episode 4 ends on a note that I did not enjoy. I did not enjoy spending a week waiting for the next episode. I cannot stress enough, but it worked. And honestly, I feel sorry for those of you who are going to binge this show because you won't have to sit with the discomfort of wondering what happens next week because you're going to click the button in the next episode. Episode 5 is a turning point, which is almost as gay as the after parties for Turning Point. Characters have realistic, appropriate character growth. Again, Shane's conversation with Rose, the level of discomfort and awkwardness was on point. Then there's this scene with Ilya playing with some kids in a pool, and he is funny. He's playful. He's bringing in some of that brightness that we really haven't seen since episode 3. Ilya has been funny. He's been warm, but he's always been more guarded about it. Now, whether it's just because the stakes for him are so low, or because he's just making kids laugh in a hotel pool, whatever the reason, it's much more wholesome. He's much more likable than he has been previously. It's notable that the scene is also one of the rare ones shot outside with heaps of natural light. The show is letting us know that Ilya can move towards something happier. I don't want to spoil a bunch of stuff in episode 5 for anyone who still hasn't seen it, but there's multiple scenes where you see both Shane and Ilya learning to be more honest with themselves and with each other. But there's still the same external conflict that we saw in Scott and Kip's story, the whole, how can we be gay if we be hockey players? There's still this idea of, well, I would if it weren't for the fact that, blah. And then, right as things are winding down for the episode, they weave back in Scott and Kip's story. And honestly, I've watched the episode 2 times now. I've also just watched clips online. I've also just listened to the song that was playing. And every time I still tear up just thinking about it. Honestly, when I wrote this script, I teared up. The fact that the show lets so much of their story happen out of frame shows a brilliant level of restraint and trust for the audience. Like, they don't need to show them having all of these conversations over and over and fraught interactions as they work to try and build up the courage to just be happy. You get to just have one of the most incredibly wholesome coming out moments on TV in this brilliant show that was initially assumed by many to just be a horny hockey show. The execution of it was perfect. Even the amount of timing they spent on it. You see Scott impulsively decide to do this thing that he felt he couldn't do before. And then you have this genuinely awkward buildup. The pause was so pregnant, I'm sure doctors were concerned. But it works. It doesn't last a second longer than it needs to, but it takes its time. I remember feeling like time had stopped. It was so strange to see two characters who are not the central characters get their, I assume, happy ending. Happy ending. But the main characters haven't yet. And it really demonstrates the manner in which queer acceptance is cumulative. We all stand on each other's shoulders as we make sure that life is better for the queer kids who are still kids now, but eventually have to grow into the world that we leave them. And so that episode leaves you with just a few seconds of Ilya and Shane finally believing that they can move toward reorientation. For the first time, both of them are on the same page about the idea that they might get to be happy. I was very happy. I will see you all at the cabin.